안녕하세요. 요새 실리콘밸리는 노화 연구가 큰 관심을 받고 있습니다. 고령화가 급격히 진행되면서 더 건강하고 오래 살려는 욕구는 인간의 기본권에 가깝기 때문이죠. 그래서 운동도 열심히 하고 건강한 음식을 먹습니다. 하지만 오늘날 과학기술이 많이 발전을 하면서 인간의 노화를 어떻게 과학적으로 막을 수는 없을까? 아니, 건강하게 더 오래 유지할 수 없을까라는 질문도 하게 됩니다. 그래서 이 분야의 미국의 최고 전문가이신 찰스 브레너 교수님을 모시고 노화 그리고 그가 연구한 NR NAD에 대해서 가볍게 들어보도록 하겠습니다. 오늘 벨리토크 찰스 브레너 Theory of Hope 미 국립의료센터 당뇨병 및 암 메타볼리즘 의장님이십니다. Hello.
Hi, hey Jaquan. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, it's an honor to meet you. Could you tell yourself and your research?
Sure. So as you said, I run a research laboratory at City of Hope in Los Angeles. I spent the last 25 years working on NAD, which is the central catalyst of metabolism. And I discovered the vitamin activity of NR, another way to make cellular NAD. I'm really interested in the role of NAD in human health, including diabetes, metabolic diseases, rare diseases, aging, cancer, and even skin health.
Why are you doing this research?
When I say that NAD is the central catalyst of metabolism, metabolism is all of the processes that convert everything that we eat into everything that we are. So it's the ability to take our food, turn it into ATP, but also turn it into motion and build and repair everything in our bodies. All of that depends upon NAD coenzymes, and we've discovered a whole lot of exciting things about the roles of NAD coenzymes in human health.
You said aging and you explained your research. I'd like to ask about what is aging, and then do you think aging is a disease?
Great question. So no, I don't think that aging is a disease. I think that aging is an intrinsic part of life. It's actually a privilege to be able to age. Aging is encoded in our genes. We can see in women's health that the number of oocytes that a woman has declines from when she's a 20-week-old fetus to when she's born. It's lower when she's starting puberty, and women don't have any functional oocytes left after the age of about 50. And that's a gene-encoded program. There's not really any evidence that we can greatly extend lifespan, but we know that you can age better or you can age worse based upon lifestyle. There's a lot of choices that people make that affect the trajectory of their health and how well they age and how well they perform over time.
Many people want to know about there are any scientific way to prevent aging, which means anti-aging. Do you think like that?
I don't think that there are any available technologies for, long-term life extension. As I said, you can age better, you can age worse. We know that there are things that you can do to protect yourself, right? So we know that in the skin, which is one of the largest organs in the body, that sun is really, cause of a lot of problems. Turns out that when you're exposed to the sun damages your DNA. And in the process of repairing the DNA, NAD, the central catalyst of metabolism, is destroyed. And so we've known for some time that boosting NAD with NAD precursors like NR, nicotinamide riboside, can improve DNA repair and can prevent damage that's caused by the sun and other agents.
Yeah, it's a relative question. What is the mechanism of use maintenance, and also what should I do to prevent aging?
Oh, what can you do to prevent aging? How can you age better?
Sure.
First, we like to joke that you choose your parents well,
right?
Because they're giving you your gene sets, right? And they're also imparting you with a lifestyle that can be very sedentary, which is not so great, or can be very active. So we know that healthy, active people that maintain vitality, don't overeat, they remain physically and mentally active, socially engaged, they don't take drugs that they're not prescribed for, they don't use a lot of alcohol. They avoid, gun violence and war and accident. They get vaccinated. They avoid exposure to the sun. So we know that there are a lot of things that you want to avoid in order to age better. We also think that by boosting your NAD with NR, you're improving your resiliency. So you're improving your ability to repair damage. And in fact, recently, we've seen data now that topical application of NR, and that's what comes in to play here with this new company, NR Lab, the topical application of NR can protect skin and can improve the performance of people's facial skin, which is very important to people.
Yeah, what is said is resilience of our metabolism. I think it's a key word of your invention, I think.
Right, resilience is really key, is the ability of your body to repair itself.
Sure.
Right? So everything in your body was made through your own metabolism, right? When we eat protein, fat, and carbohydrates, those are the macronutrients. They break down and our body converts them into ATP, into physical motion. And our body also converts everything that we eat into all of our DNA, our RNA, our protein, and lipids. All of that depends on metabolism. It all, in fact, depends on NAD metabolism and the ability to repair the body.
And then, do you recommend to Korean people about how to stay healthier and younger and live longer?
Korean people are doing well. Korean people came through the coronavirus pandemic pretty well. A coronavirus infection, in fact, is another thing that can attack the NAD system. That was shown by our laboratory. So resistance to infection and the ability to stay physically active and socially engaged are really, really important in aging.
I understand you are a discoverer of NR. How does NR affect the aging in the body?
Right. So I discovered the vitamin activity of NR, and by boosting NAD, NR allows cells to promote their resiliency and repair even when the NAD system is under attack. So for example, sun damage, reactive oxygen species, virus infection, inflammation, all of those things can disturb the NAD system. And so by boosting NAD with NR, it was commercialized as Niagen, can allow people to resist these metabolic stresses and maintain their resiliency.
Why do you get into NR instead of any other function?
NAD is the central catalyst of metabolism. So if you take a look at an electric car that is sitting idle, parked and off, and then another one that is driving down the road with the radio on, the motor running, the air conditioning running, and the cooling system running, the difference between the car that is not moving and the car that is moving is the flow of electrons. NAD coenzymes literally are the wiring inside of our cells that mediate the flow of electrons that makes life possible. That's how centrally important NAD is.
When do you start researching NR?
We discovered the NR pathway around 2003-04, about 20 years ago.
And give us a rough description of what NR is.
Yep. So NR is what we call a precursor, or it's a building block in order to make NAD. And so NAD is a central catalyst of metabolism. It allows cells, living cells, to move electrons. We don't have metal wiring inside of our body. We have NAD coenzymes that moves high energy electrons that makes metabolism possible. And so NR is a building block that allows cells to make their own NAD.
Yeah. What is the role of NAD in the skin health?
So in skin health, NAD is required to repair the skin. So when the skin is cut or it's burned, when the DNA is damaged due to sun exposure, NAD is used for all of those operations, right? So we knew that you could take NR orally in a pill, Niagen pill, but recently we've been able to formulate NR into a cream and into kind of a toner, so for face products, in which you're getting NR topically right on top of the skin. And we've just seen the first clinical data that show remarkable effects on skin elasticity, which is, the firmness and the tone of the skin due to 4 and 8 week exposure to NR lab, NR creams. So we're very excited about the availability soon, NR lab cream, I think it's called, is it Energy Cream, NR? Basically, it's putting NR in a topical form that the skin will take up to boost its resiliency. And it has science behind it and it has human data behind it.
Yeah. Has there been any studies on the effect of NR for skincare?
Yes, as I said, we've just gotten the first human data that shows very remarkable effects of NR in skin elasticity and other measurements that were measured by photography and expert analysis of people that use these products for 8 weeks on their face.
Yeah. And then also the kind of the NR, you made the NR lab, right? Could you explain the NR lab as well?
Yep, NR Lab is a new Korean startup company
Right.
and founded by Perry Ha, who's well known here in Silicon Valley.
Sure.
It's got dermatologists in Seoul, Korea, one of the top places in the world for skin care and skin product formulation. And so we've been able to take NR, put it into skin products, expose it to people, measure the effects scientifically, and we're looking forward to a product launch here in early 2023 in Korea.
2023. Do you have any role in NR lab?
Yes, I'm the chief scientific advisor. I'm one of the founding people in the company.
Do you have any idea to boost your research into the NR lab?
Yes, we've been talking about that. First, this is going to be in cosmetic products that are available to consumers. And depending upon how it goes, we may be able to formulate additional products that could be related to, wound repair or a number of other things. Because NAD is so central to metabolism and repair that we think it's important to have, products that are safety tested, science-based, and backed by human data.
For me, it's a first time to hear and study about the NR. And do you have any idea any other product using the NR and NAD?
Well, we get some NR and NAD precursors in our diet, right?
Sure.
But the idea is that as you age and as you experience life, you're exposed to the sun, right? You're exposed to oxygen. So you're exposed to something that is damaging your DNA, and oxygen can produce free radical species. We've seen in animal studies that if you overfeed mice, or you give mice or humans alcohol, which people enjoy, you disturb the NAD system. So we think that there's a strong use case for supplementing with NR in order to improve human health. So it's been really exciting to work on NAD for the last 20 years. We've discovered a number of ways in which the NAD system is disturbed by common conditions of metabolic stress, things that occur naturally in aging, sun exposure, oxygen exposure, coronavirus infection, inflammation. And we're very excited to be able to safety test products that contain nicotinamide riboside, both orally and topically, in order to improve human health and people's health and resiliency. So thanks so much for having me. It's really been a pleasure meeting you. Thanks.
Yeah. Thank you.
Sure.